Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
Hi there, Vicki. And we have a special guest.
Good morning.
Megan is joining us. Hey there, Megan.
Yay. Our member of the week.
Member of the week.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Happy Holy Saturday. This is the big Easter week, Holy Week. So I've been in the church for 4 days solid, going again for another marathon tonight, and then 2 masses tomorrow, and then I can rest.
Wow.
But,
hi.
Yeah. So hello, everyone, and welcome. It is a great day out here in where I live in Ontario. It looks like it's also gray in Elora, where we have Rick and Murray. I just saw Murray checked in from Collingwood. Who else do we have? Anne Fiordalisi wins the prize for the first one logging in this morning at 9:12.
Hey.
D. Spencer Carr is here. Sue Carrere. How are you doing, Sue? There. And there's Rick Damp Alora, yes, I mentioned. And then Doris, Veg Beauty, who is Tia. Chris Ferriolo. Hey, how are you doing, Chris?
Hey.
Susie Carter says good morning. John Tyner from Ireland says good afternoon. 61 degrees Fahrenheit, Murray translates for our American friends. And Dee saying hi, Megan. That's nice. And it's wet in Ireland as well. So, and Megan, you're showing us a bit of Ireland in your background, aren't you?
Yes, County Mayo on a recent visit for St. Patrick's Day week with a cousin.
Excellent.
Great.
So it looks like it might have been a wet or cloudy day there as well.
Yes, it's on the very edge of County Mayo in Ireland. The next town west is Boston. So,
really?
If anybody is
Amazing.
familiar with County Mayo, it's just outside of Balmullet, the metropolis of about 1,000 people.
Oh, and John Tyner says he's in Wicklow, the other side of the country.
The other side of the country, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Yeah, Chris, it's Boston. Crazy. He says Boston?
Right, Boston.
Yeah.
And Megan, you went with a cousin. You were there with a cousin that you met online. How's that?
I went with my family, my husband, and I have three kids. And we were going to stay at my cousin's house that she had built over the last couple years. It was on the property of her grandfather's land. There had been a cottage there, no running water, no electricity. She had, built a lovely home that we stayed in. We had first met 20 years ago in County Mayo in Balmullet. Kind of a long story, but my family, my Irish family, the Rowans, which is my middle name, they came from Ireland, back when I started researching. They came from Ireland, ended up in Delaware, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio area. Didn't know where in Ireland, and researched, and through queries found a woman in Michigan who had a letter from 1937 written to her grandmother or great-grandmother from Balmullet, another relative, that told the story of the Rowan family, how there were 10 children, and listed them all out. And then I knew it was Balmullet. So my family, back in 2004, planned a trip to Balmullet, and at the time, my oldest daughter was like 14 months old. We went with my mother, my mother-in-law, and 3 weeks before we left, someone answered a query online for County Mayo, and she ended up being a descendant of one of the 10 siblings. And when she found out that I was coming, or that we were coming, she said, "I'll fly over from Scotland, meet you, and show you around." And so then that's how we met. Back in 2004, and stayed in touch all this time, and visited her and stayed in her lovely home. So yeah.
That's great.
Well, that's what genealogy does.
Yes,
it does much.
brings people together. Excellent. That's great. Well, since we've always started, you're always starting your story. Vicki, why don't you just continue on with
with the interview. Right.
Questions. Nothing too hard. We want to get to know you better.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you have an interesting story about how you became interested in genealogy.
Yes.
Something about a homework or something?
Yes, it was in the 7th grade, just a few years ago, in grade school, Catholic grade school. And the assignment was to trace Jesus's family tree and then turn around and then do our own family tree. And at the time I knew very little. My parents had divorced when I was very young. And I didn't know my maternal Polish side at all, but knew very little about even my maternal side. I was an only child, only grandchild, only great-grandchild, end of the line, wanted to know more. And I felt very like, other people in my class knew a lot more and, had stories and food, and I didn't know very much of anything. And so at the time, one of my great grandmothers was still living, and she told me stories about her father who fought in the Civil War, and I just wanted to know more. And that started the what I call the addiction that there's no cure. And back then, a teenager, I couldn't drive. I had to, have my mother drive me to the historical society, and you'd go to places and open the door, and all eyes would be on you, and you're like, old, way at the time, way older people, and I'm young, and just very different. Felt like very different back then. But that was how the addiction started, was the school project. And I think it's common for a lot of people to have that story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've heard that here before. And every week I'd like to highlight something that our guest said in the interview, and I was going to highlight that. You said that is how my addiction started, and there is no cure. But you also said this I liked. It's just a short sentence. The question was, what are some of your interests outside of genealogy? And you said, is there a life outside genealogy? And that was awesome. We identify with that. But you also got the travel bug, and with your grandfather. And I want to know if that travel or many travels, maybe you use them for researching genealogy. I don't know. Were they related to some of your ancestors, maybe?
So the travel bug kind of hit at the same time as the genealogy bug. The very first trip was with my grandfather. I was 13, he was 75, and it was 8 countries in 16 days. And he was a banker by trade, so he made me manage all the money. And back then, Europe had different currencies. But, just traveling and seeing other places, other cultures, different languages that I didn't understand, it intrigued me. And we went on a couple other international trips, until it got too much for me to just be going with him. And so when I went to college, I wanted to do foreign study. And I ended up transferring before I could have that experience. And when I was in graduate school, the first time, I also like school, a friend of mine wanted to join the Peace Corps and go and work in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe was, just opening up after the Cold War and wall falling, everything. And I went to the presentation, and I thought, this is really, this is interesting. I want to, look into this. And so I ended up, I had taken Spanish in high school, which I no longer remember, but I got nominated to go to Latin America, and it was going to be like in the fall. This was back in 1993. But then when I got the actual invitation, it was to Slovakia, which at the time, I was vaguely remembering, oh yes, Czechoslovakia just split up, Slovakia. And it was in the summer of 93. And so I ended up working in Bratislava, Slovakia for 2 years, a little over 2 years. And it was wonderful. Like I said, I didn't know my Polish heritage at all. And it gave me the opportunity, while it wasn't Poland, it was Slovakia, to, know that heritage. No close language to it. And we did go on a few trips, my friends, when we were in the Peace Corps. And one of those trips was to southern Poland, to near Zakopane. And at the time, we traveled within 10 miles of the 4 villages in Poland where my 4 great-grandparents on my father's side lived. But I didn't know at the time. Now I do. And 2 years ago, my family and I, we went on a trip, found a custom tour company that took us to the 4 villages. 3 of them, it was just a drive through, find the church, look at the graveyard, see anything. But one of them, in Kokolov, right over the Slovak border, I had met a cousin online. She found me through Find a Grave. And we had started corresponding. And so she and her husband had a pizza restaurant in town, and they hosted us, and we were able to meet. And, it was just a wonderful experience.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and
the travel bug is definitely strong. And I ended up later going to graduate school again to get my MBA, and I met my husband in the program, and he had been a Peace Corps volunteer in Fiji. So together, we tried to instill that travel and international with our kids, and take them on trips. Whether they appreciate it now, hopefully they will at some point. But we try and go on a trip if we can every year.
It's such a valuable experience to change up your perspective by going to another country. And for a young person, that's wonderful. You're doing that for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's very useful to find cousins through the web.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you speak Slovak fluently.
I did back then, probably. Now it's, it's only been a few years, 31. It's a little rusty, but, I can still try and understand it, read it. Polish is close enough that I can get a grasp of what, is going on or what's, written. And then, of course, today there Google Translate, there's a bunch of other tools that you can use.
Mm-hmm. But if any of our WikiTreeers needs your help, maybe they can reach out to you, right?
Yes. Well, I know I've worked with a little bit with, is it Sky, who I think has Polish. I don't know if it's the Polish group or there's somebody. She arranges like all of the categories and everything like that. I know I've worked with her quite a bit just to get some of the categories in Galicia added and organized.
Great. Nice. And you also worked a lot in a personal project that was your free space for the 1930 Columbus, Ohio flood.
Yes,
Tell us about that.
Well, I was surprised. There were in 1913 in Ohio and the surrounding states, there was a major flood, killed hundreds of people. My family was living in Columbus at the time, but other cities were also affected. And I didn't know that any of my family had been affected by that flood. And being me, and I'm kind of, I would call myself, the crazy collateral genealogist here. I just look at collateral lines and, brothers and sisters. And I discovered that my 2 times great-grandfather had a brother. And I never knew anything about him. Or, I found him listed in the census with his parents, but never heard stories or anything about him. And he was Charles Wilkins, which was my grandfather, and I never knew another Charles Wilkins in the family. And so started researching him and found him with his wife and his daughters, and then what happened to him. And then I ended up finding death certificates for his wife and 3 of his daughters, and they perished in the flood. Never heard this story, never passed through the family. And so I took the opportunity. I started looking at other death certificates at that time in Columbus and decided to add them created whether I was supposed to or not, created a category or a project and started adding those names in that category to them, and started looking through newspaper articles, finding them and the stories about, certain families or individuals that were profiled or written in the paper, and just started adding that. And additionally, I've always wanted to kind of try and blog, but I never, I'll do one here like every 4 or 5 years, but I wrote a story about it as well, with the help of my daughter. And so there's a link. If you go out there, there's a link to that blog, as well, that tells the story about, the Charles Wilkins and his family. Wow.
That's great. And that's one of your contributions to WikiTree. You have like 135,000 contributions on WikiTree. So thank you for all that hard work.
Sure.
What inspires you?
I think just knowing, your heritage, where you come from, someone along the, hear the story about, people or families die twice, it's like when they actually die and then when they're forgotten. Mm-hmm. So it's, recording that or sharing that information, what you have. And in some cases it's personal, like I may have the pictures or the family stories, but in other cases, it's just, I've researched this family and this other family is related. And so I started putting, at least their, birth, death, census record information, that type of thing, in the hopes that someone else will come along and, claim or add to that profile. And I'm probably one of the worst in my watch list. I think I have over 12,000. But just waiting.
That's worse than me. Yay!
Waiting for others to come and claim, family or closer relations, and I'll give up the profile. But yes, I'm sitting there with 12,000 at the moment.
Wow.
Maybe I'm in watch list jail sometime soon. I don't know.
That's great. Well, thank you for all that work that you've done. That's your legacy, right? So, yeah, we're very proud, and thank you. Thank you for that. I don't know if you guys have any other question.
I do. Megan, you sure? Free Space page about the flood in Ohio, is that linked somewhere in the interview? I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Yes, I think it's like one of the last questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I'd love to look at that. It sounds like
Yeah.
a really worthwhile project.
Yeah, it's in the chat. There's
Okay.
the link, and yeah, we could
Great.
visit.
Great.
So Megan, I invite you to stay with us while we keep on with our livecast. So thank you for coming and for accepting our invitation. Congratulations for being member of the week.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, of course. Well, other way that we honor our ancestors is the profile makeover. So, what do you think? Shall we see the profile makeover?
Go for it.
So this month, I suggested the theme of flowers, and Betsy is honoring that theme today. Thank you. So I'll share my screen. Remember that is just a suggestion. If you don't know what profile to pick from your watch list or any other, you can use that as an inspiration. So, and it had a lot of interaction from our members. And we have a lot of new participants in the challenge this month. So I guess flowers is a good theme. And we have Debbie Desotel Godard. And she said, after reading the first few sentences, I chose my mom's page to make over an honor. She loved flowers. She had her flower beds all planned out, so something was blooming all the time. To honor her, I wrote a story, uploaded her picture. She's wearing a flowery shirt on a flowery sofa. and she gave her a flowery background. So
Nice.
she says she didn't get the before screenshot, but you know what? I can see what you did. And this is just enough. Look at this beautiful profile. That's the profile of Gertrude Alida Townsend White. And she has this flowery background. And you know that we can see the backlog, I mean, the change history. So I said, well, there's no before picture, but I can see that in April, Debbie edited the biography. And if you click here, this is like the tip of the day. If you don't know that, you can click here and you can see what changes Debbie did to the profile. So I can see that you made over this profile in April. You edited the biography and you did a bio improvement. She uploaded the photo, edited the primary photo. That means that that photo she uploaded is now the profile picture, and she edited the background. So I can see I can have an idea of what the before was. So it's now the full profile. We have a sticker for the Townsend name study. And Gertrude was the daughter of Harvey James and Alida Townsend. We can see she had three children, and I like this touch. Debbie put her name as a title, and she put the dates of birth and death as a title, and she went on with the biography like a memory that she has from her mother. And she says, this is a little detail. I somehow I know that dash means life. I don't know, maybe she had some trouble, but keep that in mind. I want to tell you a little bit about my mom's life. It started in a small town in Iowa and ended in a large Missouri city. It was a life full of talent, giving, and love. My mom was great at so many things: sewing, crafting, playing the organ, gardening, and church activities, to name just a few. Everything was done beautifully and with great enthusiasm. Mom volunteered for many organizations and helped many people during her life. I am thankful to have had her in my life and to have received her love. Her love of nature and sense of humor are two of her traits that I will carry forward to the next generations. That's all you need to know from a person, right? We used to have sources and think about dates and locations, but this is just about all you need to know about Gertrude. And of course, we have proper sources, but we know we can feel how she was. So it's a great makeover. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing your mom's life with us. And this is a flowery life. She liked gardening. She loved flowers. Oh, and let me show you the pictures. Remember, we can see now here at the carousel.
I was just going to say that was a lovely memory there. And the dash, I think she was referring to, there's a famous poem that's about, that talks about, you know, when you're in a graveyard, you know, and you see the tombstone of a person, you see their birth date and their death date. But what's really important about the person is the dash, what goes in between those two. Yeah. So that's what she said. Let me tell you about the dash, all the stuff that happened in between.
Okay. Great. That's so touching.
It is touching.
Yeah.
I just found a link to that poem by Linda Ellis, and I put a link to it.
Thank you.
Wow. This is like a dash of love, right?
Right.
And it's perfect for the dash of love. That's exactly it.
It's amazing. Oh, so here's Gertrude with her flowery shirt in her flowery sofa. Thank you, Debbie, so much for this lovely and this loving detail about the dash that I'm learning just now. So it's a great makeover for this month's theme. So we have so many new makeovers that maybe I'll have to show more than one next week, so we can make justice to all of them.
Wow.
So
I wonder if the person who wrote the poem, if she's on WikiTree, we can make over her.
We're gonna have a space page for the poem.
For the poem, nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, what a tip. What an info you gave us, Greg, about the dash. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that was the profile makeover.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
Did anyone?
It's so sweet.
I was wondering, did anyone take the flower theme in a different direction, like a flower, like someone named Rose, or their name was a flower name, or how did people interpret that?
Yes. Well, I gave some ideas. First, I said maybe an ancestor who loved gardening. Maybe you have a photo of someone holding a bouquet, or someone named Rose. Yeah. And I'm going to do the profile of my great-great-grandmother, who was named Margarita Rosa, and that's Daisy Rose. Melissa Jamieson, who likes to do unknown profiles. She found a Lily unknown.
Nice.
And Lin Yang is working on someone with the name Flossie, that apparently means blooming.
Blooming.
And she's working on another profile with the name Tafinas, which means garland. And also she will do a mini makeover on someone else who was a landscape gardener. And there's other flower theme. No, this is Debbie's. And George Norton, he loved and propagated, I need help with this, the blue gentian flower worldwide. I don't know if maybe he was like a specialist in botanicals or something. What is a blue gentian?
Blue gentian.
It's a flower.
Okay.
Yeah, gentian. And there, we have a great aunt Rose. Marcia chose his grandfather's profile. He was a member of the Muy Modia Bonsai Horticultural Society. Oh my God.
Oh,
And
bonsai.
won several awards. I'm sorry.
No, that's
That's the
good.
best I could do.
No.
And he had his greenhouse full of plants and the pansy bed just outside the kitchen door. And this one is a good one. Marcia says her mother was an artist, and one of the small paintings she did was a gift to her mother of a vase of pansies.
Nice.
So, well, we have a
What?
lot of different ideas.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and you still have 11 days to work on your profile.
Still time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Betsy, did you want to do your
Sure.
question?
Yeah. Let me present. Share screen. Okay. So is everybody seeing my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So our question of the week. Oh, and by the way, John Tyner was asking, is that a double bass I hear? I am at school and I'm next to a piano studio. So you might be hearing Hannon and lots of piano warm-ups.
Nice.
I hope it's not
nice.
too overbearing. But
No.
yeah. Question of the week. Does your family have Easter traditions? So we only had, I'm going to refresh, but as of last night, there were only 8 answers. So that means we can look at them all.
Wow.
But as always, I tried to look for themes, and the 4 themes, of course, were worship and faith, family, food, and clothing. Clothing, yes. Well, speaking of clothing, Ginny Fields says, growing up in the South, the tradition was a new church outfit, a dress in those days, either new white or black patent shoes. Church on Sunday morning, then lunch, always included ham and potato salad. And she's continued the tradition, but still bakes a ham and potato salad for Easter. And she said, I can't get away from the ham and potato salad. It screams Easter to me. So, I remember black patent leather shoes. I had maybe a few more than a few pairs myself. And I was looking for a photo that I thought I had on WikiTree of myself on an Easter Sunday. And I was decked out in pink with the black patent leather shoes. Couldn't find it. So anyway. And then Alexis Nelson shared this photo. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Whoops. Okay, so this is her husband's family on Easter Sunday, and that is the oldest boy is her husband, and they're his siblings and their grandmother. Church was the most important part. And now that our grandchildren are adults, we don't have no great-grandchildren. So the traditional Easter egg hunt is no longer part of the day. This photo was in 1956 with their paternal grandmother, Audrey Nelson. And notice they've got their Easter baskets filled with eggs and candy. Thank you, Alexis. And then Laura Ratter said, as a child, my mom would take my sister and me to Easter Sunday service if she could wrangle us to it. And there was she remembers one particular sunrise service and just how special it was to be up outside and on top of a hill that early. But most Easters, my sister and I dyed boiled eggs with food coloring and vinegar the Saturday before, and then the Easter bunny hid them. And it sounds like they had a lot of land, a lot of property. So her father would go out to see where they were and to report where they should look. She does remember finding an egg 6 months after Easter.
Just in time for Halloween.
Yeah, right. And then our family would have a celebratory dinner, usually lamb with a lemon cake for dessert. Now this one, I want to know if you know about this tradition, maybe not. Vicki, cascarones, eggshells.
Oh,
So
okay.
was new to
Maybe.
So here's some pictures.
Totally. Yes. I did the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Really?
yeah.
Yes, like in kindergarten, they teach you how to do that.
Well, so this was a really interesting description from Rosa Hinojosa. So weeks before Easter, we would pinpoint a small hole at the bottom of fresh eggs and let the egg come out slowly.
It'd be
And
very
also
slow.
nothing going to waste. The eggs would be cooked for breakfast. And then we would rinse the eggshells thoroughly. Once they were dry, dye them in different colors, and they had dozens of eggshells. Then we would add confetti inside the eggshells and paste the top with a confetti cover. At Easter, we'd break the eggs over each other's heads. It was such fun for the children, especially. And apparently, you can buy these pre-made, a dozen at Kroger for $3.99, much cheaper than the cost of real eggs.
Yeah. What we did was just painting the cascarones, and we did 2 holes, and you let the egg come out, and then you can blow it and take everything out. But it was just for painting. We didn't put any
You didn't put
confetti.
the confetti in?
That's a good
Okay.
idea.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
it's
wouldn't
much
they-
more fun.
Yeah.
I'd be worried about them being so fragile. Would they?
Right.
Oh,
Well,
yes, of
they would
course.
break very easily.
They would, wouldn't they?
Mhm. They
So
are.
if you
Yeah,
have
they're
massive
fragile.
heat, painted on them, that would be lost.
Mhm.
Lost to the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rosa.
It's
There's
great.
a flower. There's a flower name.
Rosa.
Yes, Rosa.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'm not sure I've heard this acronym, but I love it.
Yeah.
A girl raised in the South.
It's-
This is from Ella Daggett. She writes, Easter always began with a sunrise service at the crack of dawn. Breakfast with homemade cinnamon rolls followed, then off to church in our new Easter outfits. Roast lamb or ham was the star of the Easter lunch, followed by mandatory naps. And then the Easter egg hunt, always extra fun when our cousins were home from the mission field in South America. She and her cousin could polish off a dozen hard-boiled decorated eggs in a heartbeat. He ate the whites and I ate the yellow part. And then the day ended with chocolate bunny remains from ear to ear and sweet, sticky fingers. Lots of good memories. Alice, I don't know if Alice is in the chat, but Alice writes, we used to go to a park. They would scatter eggs for me and another girlfriend to find, then a picnic lunch, enjoying the park, and finally Mom would fix a ham dinner for the evening meal. But this year, my husband and brother are going to a restaurant for Easter brunch. Now, the last two were some Greek and Orthodox traditions that were interesting. Mark Stefan wrote, we have an Easter egg hunt with money and candy in the eggs. My wife is Greek, so my children and our grandchildren celebrate 2 Easters when Catholic and Eastern Orthodox Church Easter match up. So I don't know if they do this year, but
I don't know.
Yeah. And then finally, Jeffrey Rozwadowski. I really hope I said that right, Jeffrey. If I didn't, apologies. Describes that his mother was Boyko-Russian/Ukrainian and raised us in the Orthodox Church. He described how the Orthodox Christians abstain from a variety of food during Lent and Holy Week, meat, eggs, dairy. So for Easter, they would fill up a large basket with all the items they had abstained from, and then take it to the priest, to the church for a blessing. And these foods would be our Easter dinner. And there's some really interesting descriptions. He had on the list is pasca, a rich round Easter bread ornamented on top with a red braid around the circumference and a 3-barred Slavonic cross in the middle. So that sounds very, very beautiful and tasty. A church service began on Saturday night, shortly before midnight, and then it sounded like a very, very powerful metaphor for the celebration of Easter. Just at midnight, the lights in the church would go dim. They would go outside and process around the church 3 times, representing the 3 days Christ spent in the tomb. And then the priest would announce Christ is risen. And then they would come back inside, but then the lights would be on again. So thank you for sharing that, Jeffrey. Very a little different. I've never had going outside during an Easter. Have either of you?
No, we spend most of our time inside the church.
Right.
A lot of that.
When I've gone to Holy Saturday night services, it's usually been a battle to stay awake.
It's a marathon. It's a marathon. I mean, it's lovely because it does start with the service of light, with the candles and everything, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
And to answer your question, this is one of those unusual years where the Catholic and the Orthodox Easter are together.
So how nice!
We all celebrate this Sunday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you to everybody who wrote, shared some traditions, and moving.
I have to say something.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm sorry, but my sister and I love the eggs hunting so much that our parents hid eggs for us like till we were 40 or something. I really love that. And I still hide eggs for my sister. She hides them for me. So that's our tradition.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, on Thursday we had our grandkids. I had eggs for them. So when they woke up from their afternoon nap. Yeah.
And that's amazing. Did they find them all?
They did. They did find them all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the photos, our April photo theme is couples. So we have 3 to look at. So Alexis shares a photo of her parents, Claire Alexander Chick Lovelace and Clarice Marvin Lovelace. And this was taken, I'm deliberately not showing you yet. It's just, it's a wonderful photo. It's taken April 11th, 1942 in Wichita Falls, Kansas. They met at college, fell in love there, and then they both put a delay on their educations because of World War II. They couldn't stand being apart, and he wrote her several letters asking her to marry him, and Alexis has those.
Wow.
Alexis's father was shot down in the Pacific near Guam on May 29th, 1945, and his body never recovered. So very, very sad tragedy. And we're so sorry, Alexis. He was only 26. Her mother never remarried, and her great love for him remained until her death at age 45. So here's the photo. And I wanted to go big. Wait a minute. There. Okay. It just made me smile from ear to ear last night because their love is just like it's springing out of the photo.
Yeah.
Just
wow.
Yeah. Just
that's so sweet.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Alexis. And then let's see. This one is from David Randall. Am I right? Yes. So David decided to share a painting. So how many of us have paintings of our ancestors? I I don't. So you're really fortunate, David. He tells us a little bit about the history of the painting as well as who's in it. These are his great grandparents, Per and Elvira Johnson. The portrait has had a place of honor in my family for generations. It first hung at the top of the staircase in his grandmother's home. And then after she passed, it moved to his mother's bedroom, where it remained until her death last year. And today it is in David's home, and it's a silent connection to the generations who came before me. So in 1919, Elvira, who was a mother of two, young mother of two, she contracted TB, tuberculosis. And at that time, there was no cure. Her only hope lay in a change of climate. So the family moved west to Colorado, which was supposed to be a very healthy environment, dry air, high altitude, lots of sunshine. They settled in Boulder, and Elvira was admitted to the Boulder Sanitarium, which was a very respected treatment center at the time. It was operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it specialized in it sounded very cutting edge, holistic treatments, focusing on diet, hydrotherapy, time outside. While Elvira fought for her life, Per was left to care for their two young daughters with the help of Elvira's sister, the girls, and Esther. A very, very difficult time for the family. Sadly, Elvira died on February 12th, 1920, at just 31 years old. And Per was left a widower with two small daughters, and 18 months later, their Aunt Esther also passed away, leaving two young children of her own. Such sadness and loss. She was a beautiful bride. And then our final photo comes from Eileen Robinson. And I'm just going to go right to it. Michael and Eileen get married. So
that's great.
Yeah, she just looks, what a beautiful bride and handsome couple. So congratulations, Eileen. Thank you for sharing.
Nice.
So,
Beautiful.
yes, yeah. Now we don't actually have any ancestors unless somebody slipped one in while I was sleeping. Wait, someone did. Yes,
Really?
someone did. Okay, well, this will be on the fly. Okay, D. So D, I wonder if this is that. Yes, she said something
1 hour ago
in the chat about someone named Rose, and it's her mother-in-law, Caroline Rose Carr, née Klein. She lived her life as a single mom, not by choice, a devout Catholic, raising 4 children in the 50s. Unusual and very hard at any time, but I think it would have been even harder in the 50s, because nowadays you have other people who are doing it as well, but she's truly an angel, and we miss her every day. I hope to improve her biography to honor her. The church was key in Carolyn's life. She raised her children Roman Catholic as she was raised. She was called KK, and she was a former member of the St. Patrick's Catholic Church in Cairo, Illinois. And was a name of St. Mary's Catholic Church in Mound City, Illinois. Also a member of St. Mary's Sodality, which is a Catholic Marian devotion group often found within parish communities that fosters devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and promotes spiritual and apostolic life among its members. Sodalities aim to strengthen faith, encourage prayer, and encourage service to the church and community. It's her birthday today. Happy Heavenly B-Day. Let's just see. Today. It's today.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Birthday, KK.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And she has German. That's right. This spelling of Carolyn with a K. I was wondering now. Sounded
German.
Scandinavian, but German. Yep. And yes, so you're on your way with her profile. You've already got a nice banner. And let's look at the photos.
Wow.
Browse photos. There's the Carr family.
Wow.
That's a nice one. And oh, you've got a lot.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
A lot of special. I mean, you're not going to find something like this online. Oh, this is a really nice one. 1945.
Yes. Wow. Amazing.
Up, look at that. Striking a pose there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And one more on the next page. Okay. Nice.
Ooh.
Well, thank you so much, Dee.
That's
and
great.
happy birthday to KK.
It's a lovely profile.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. So let's slide over into connections checkers. And there we go. Let me zoom in a bit. And so the theme going with Easter, of course, is we're talking about not just food, but we're talking about candy. Mostly chocolate, actually, but there's at least one non-chocolate entry in the list of profiles. But, so who are you closestly related to? I think
Yeah,
what
I
about
saw
you
that.
folks?
I'm closer to Joseph Fry.
Joseph Fry. Interesting. Okay.
He's my closest.
I didn't check. So you carry on, and when we get to that person, I'll say.
Okay. I can tell you that I am closest to Milton Hershey, which is interesting. Yeah. But
how many degrees?
That was 16 degrees, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you're more distant?
My most distant. Oh, where?
For me, Sanborn, 33 degrees.
Oh, okay. So I go from 16 degrees. Here, I can pop this over, actually. Can I? There we go. Yes. For me, Milton Hershey is. There we go. 16 degrees is the closest, and then Henri Nestlé, 29 degrees.
I have a tie between Milton Hershey and Arthur Ganong. Oh, and Ganong and Clarence Crane. Three-way tie. 18.
Wow. Very nice. Interesting. Okay. So here we are. So it's all about the candy and the chocolate. So I've rearranged them so they're in chronological order. So from the one in terms of the birth years. So the oldest one. So I find this interesting that this goes back to Joseph Stores Fry, and if you've done much baking in the kitchen, you might recognize the name Fry's as in cocoa, Fry's cocoa. Because we still get that's one of the staples that we can still get cocoa, like chocolate powder. So this was the family. Have you heard of that? Is that
no?
Not in Chile. What about in the States? Betsy, have you heard of Fry's cocoa?
No, I haven't.
No. Okay.
Oh.
I'm sure I'm not the only baker in the group, am I? Of course, desserts were my favorites, so maybe I'm a little. But yeah, he was an English chocolate and confectionery manufacturer. So he was born in 1767 in Bristol, England, in June. Passed away the 18th of November, 1835. they're a little uncertain about that. I'm wondering if that's because that was his burial date. So they're not sure how many days before. That would be my guess, because that's a pretty specific date. And then to mark it as uncertain.
Yes.
So when I've seen that before, I think that usually means they've put that's the burial date. So they know he's dead by then. We're not exactly sure whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 days before, you know, at the age
or
of
maybe
60.
there's no source.
Or maybe there's no source. Like it's written somewhere, but there's no source to prove it.
Like in Wikipedia.
Right.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Son of Joseph Storrs Fry and Anna Portsmouth. So English chocolate and confectionery manufacturer.
And he's the oldest?
He is let's see, he was born 67.
No, I mean he's the earliest.
Oh, the earliest
of them all?
profiles, yes. Yeah.
And yet he's my closest. That's strange.
That is interesting. That is interesting. Yeah. You would think that it's more likely the more recent profiles should be fewer steps away.
Fewer generations.
Fewer generations, you would think, yeah. Could be long generations, or he lived and died in England. So I don't know. That's interesting. Member of the Fry family. His father had started a number of businesses, including an experimental chocolate factory, Fry Vaughan and Company. Got married in 1972. He took control of his parents' chocolate business, now known as Anna Fry and Sons, after his father passed away. He patented a method for grinding cocoa beans using the Watt steam engine. The steam engine had just recently been discovered or invented, I guess. And he used that to grind the cocoa beans, which would form them into the powder, which would become the Fry's, the chocolate powder. And then his partners, they became one of the largest commercial producers of chocolate, the company in Britain. And then his sons took control. When he passed away, he was buried in the Frenchay Quaker Meeting House, along with his wife and daughter Priscilla. So interesting. So chocolate goes back a while.
Yeah, I'm glad to know about him because I have roots in Bristol through my grandmother.
Do you?
Yeah. My grandmother was born in Bristol.
Interesting. Okay. Sweet. Love that. Okay. And then the next, John Cadbury, born in 1801 in Birmingham, Warwickshire, England, where he passed away as well, 87 years later, the 11th of May in 1889. Son of Richard Tapper Cadbury and Elizabeth Head, English proprietor, founder of Cadbury, famous chocolate company. And he developed an emulsification process to make solid chocolate, creating the modern chocolate bar. So the ability to, make the bar, I guess, eventually bunnies and all that sort of stuff, thanks to the process that he developed. So we're very thankful for Cadbury and all of their Easter cream eggs and everything. Cadbury caramel, all those things. He had 2 wives. His children came from his second wife. Died and was buried in the Witten Cemetery. There we go. Moving along, Heinrich Nestle was born in Germany. So his first name really was Heinrich, but he eventually moved to Switzerland and then switched to a French name because French and German are, I think, both official languages. I'm presuming they were both official languages back then, or maybe the French was just more because of the place he was in. Lyon, Montreux spoke more French than German. That is my guess. And in fact, his biography is written in German, but I'm not going to read it to you in German. Even though I've done some German in Duolingo, I could read it, but let's just switch to the English anyways. So he was born in Frankfurt, August 10th, 1814, Heinrich Nestle, son of Johann Ulrich Matthias Nestle and Anna Maria Katharina Echamant. He and his father were both glaziers, working with glass, and his brother actually became the Lord Mayor of Frankfurt, so that's pretty cool.
Oh.
Then they moved to Switzerland. He's changed his name to Henri Nestlé to fit in, which into the place there, which was French speaking. So there we go, solves that mystery. After working 4 years as an assistant, he bought a small factory and produced several things. And he had a water pipe laid to his factory to bottle water, and then added carbon dioxide and sweetened it. And so he became the first lemonade producer. And this is interesting. He also supplied gas for the street lamps of Vivi. So that was a nice civic service that he did. Anyway, his wife persuaded him to produce infant food. So he produced what was called children's flour, so basically baby formula. And then he also moved into, let's see, I think there was chocolate. Chocolate was involved in there, chocolate powder as well. And in fact, I think in the Wikipedia page, it also mentioned about the chocolate drink. So like Nestle's chocolate milk, right? That's part of that invention as well. So very cool. Yes, I had chocolate. Nestle's chocolate milk was part of my childhood. It was a very regular. Sundays we got to have chocolate milk instead of regular milk when we came home to church. Yeah, Mary Wiseman. C. So was born Mary Wiseman, daughter of John Wiseman and Mary Ann Cox, in Ontario, in Howe Island, Ontario, and then passed away at the age of 84 in Gananoque in Leeds County, Ontario. So Howe Island, I believe, is one of the islands, I don't know if it's one of the 1,000 islands, but in Lake Ontario. So she developed recipes that became the foundation of the See's candy business, which helped while helping her husband's hotel in Tremont Island. They first opened the shop in Los Angeles. That's interesting. And they had 12 shops, operated 30 shops during the Great Depression. So yeah, it looks like it was in California, but she was born in Gananoque. And here's a picture of their famous old-time candies.
And do they still exist?
That's a good question. I have not seen these candies around. So I don't know if they are still a thing. Sorry, that was
I
just
see.
Yeah, it was just low hanging fruit. You had to go.
Low hanging fruit. It was too delicious a pun to give up.
Oh, Judy knows the answer. They exist in California.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay.
I don't quite understand the geographical.
Yeah. Let me just read this again. Okay, so they developed the candy business in Ontario, working for her husband. But they opened their first shop and kitchen in Los Angeles in 1921. Like, that seems.
Oh, the first store was opened in California.
Yeah.
Okay, but she was born
at the end of the first paragraph.
Yeah, but how does she make the trip from Ontario, an island in Ontario, in Lake Ontario, Canada, all the way down to California? Like, that seems like what happened?
Her children were born. His daughter Bella May was born in 1876 in Ontario.
Okay, so that's way beyond, way after that.
And then she died in Ontario. So it sounds like California was like a
temporary.
Yeah.
Now here's Charles, died in LA, so he stayed down there, running the shop that Judy's talking about. So they relocate. So they obviously did relocate to LA, but I wonder why. I wonder if we go to his profile, if it says why. Nope. That's pretty basic.
Okay.
I'm sure Wikipedia would give us more answers, but maybe we should move on.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Rabbit hole.
That is interesting.
You can comment. I'm sorry, Megan, you can comment and play with us. Feel free to interact.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. Lindt chocolate. Oh, Lindt. I love Lindt.
Oh,
they're very tasty. So Johann Rudolf Lindt, born in Bern, Schweiz, Switzerland, died in the 20th February 1909, again in Bern, Schweiz, which is Switzerland. He began as an apprenticeship with a chocolate manufacturer and a friend, Charles Kohler, until the end of 1875. They founded their own chocolate company, which was Rudolf Lindt Fils, meaning sons or son. He was neither a businessman nor a technician, but he was amateur and curious. So I guess that's a good thing to lead a company, is if you're amateur and curious.
good combination.
Yeah. What drew him to chocolate, which at that time was primarily enjoyed as a drink more so than a candy, was the novelty of turning it into some type of candy. Interestingly, his main customer was a Bernese, from Bern, the city of Bern, a confectioner named Jean Tobler. And
Like Toblerone.
As in Toblerone, exactly. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And he eventually founded his own chocolate company when Lindt no longer supplied him with his. And then there's some details about different companies then merging, and then there was some suing going on. But anyways, they produced some very quality Swiss chocolate. The Aktengesellschaft Vereinigte Berner and Zürcher Schokoladefabriken. Cool name for a long, nice name for a German chocolate company. Then we have Milton Snavely Hershey. Now, I think this is the first profile I've ever seen with a name Snavely in it.
Oh, yes.
So, I wonder if, I haven't actually looked, is Snavely a maiden name? There it is. Yeah, there we go. Snavely is a maiden name, like is from his mother's side of the family. Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Because I
wonder how many Snaveleys there are on WikiTree.
Oh.
His mother is Snavely 5.
His mother's Snavely 5. There we go.
Carry on. I'm on the
case. So he was born in Derry Township in Pennsylvania and passed away in Hershey, the town of Hershey. How appropriate, in Pennsylvania. 13th to 13th, interesting. 13th of September to the 13th of October. So 88 years plus 1 month. He dropped out of school because he was more interested in candy making and became an apprentice. Many of these people started off as apprentices to confectioners, so that's kind of cool. And he's not the first one, I think, to drop out of school or to find more interest in making candy than going to school. And I mean, really, how can you can hardly blame them, really, given a choice. Studying, eating chocolate, testing chocolate, so many things.
Okay, we have an answer. John Tyner says we have 781.
I didn't want to interrupt, but yes, that's what I found as well.
That is a lot more than I expected.
I know, me too.
Wow. That's wild. After 5 years, he had success eluded him. He moved to Denver, worked for a confectioner there. Oh, and then he discovered caramel and how fresh milk could be used to make that.
Wow.
The story is getting sticky says he struck out on his own. I wonder if we should he stuck out on his own. That stuff. Anyways, became a successful. Started the Lancaster Caramel Company. Was at the Columbian World Exposition in the Chicago World Fair, 1893. Started the Hershey Chocolate Company. Focused on milk chocolate, and he developed a formula that would allow him to mass produce and mass distribute milk chocolate candy. So excellent, great stuff. David Little Clark from Londonderry, Ireland, born in 1864 there, and then passed away in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Born in Ireland, came to America when he was only 8 years old. His family was poor, and after only 1 year of grade school, he left to find work. Wow, that's really early, leaving on. His first job was selling newspapers, carrying market baskets. Then at the ripe old age of 12, he attended business college. Now, that's an interesting career path. 1 year of grade school, a bunch of odd jobs, and then business college. Wow. I think I just
so
saw
that would
John.
have been 1876.
Right.
Would have been 12.
So not because of the potato famine.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't because of the potato famine, but the family could have been poor as a result of that.
This was in the United States that he was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was 8. Oh, boy.
Yeah. He made his candy in a small house in Allegheny, Pennsylvania, sold it from a wagon. And then there's a picture of the Clark bar. Now, I've never had a Clark bar. Anyone of you? No, we don't. I don't think they're sold in Canada.
I would have thought that you would have to try one. Well, I'll bring you one.
I should have. You know, when we were down at Roots Tech, I should have found one in a candy store or something, but it didn't occur to me. But are they tasty? I hope they're tasty.
I haven't had one either.
Oh,
yeah, but I will. I'll get you one for next month.
Okay. Okay, excellent. Moving on to Clarence Arthur Crane. Born in 1875 in Garrettsville, Portage County, Ohio, passed away at the age of 56 in 1931, so I guess in the middle of the Great Depression, in Chagrin Falls. Oh, well, he passed away. That is a chagrin. Cuyahoga, or am I spelling Cuyahoga, Ohio. There we go. And he is, let's see, he was the heir to commerce and prosperity. He was sent to village schools before attending Allegheny College. Befriended Byron Madden, who later married his sister. He was known to be generous and gregarious, an optimist. But he was there were more reckless acts, apparently. He had a dramatic courtship. Almost sounds stalkery, kind of. He seemed to be very obsessed with after he met his wife. Anyways, he invented lifesavers, the little round candy. Yeah. Do you guys know what lifesavers are?
Yes.
I know what they are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever had them?
Not me.
No, actually, it's funny when we were clearing things out, because after we flooded. Anyways, I found this box of lifesavers that and I'll take one out. They come in a roll.
In a roll, yeah.
They come in a roll like this.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so they're individual ones, but I think we bought this we bought this to stuff in the kids' stockings. Oh, at least 20 years ago. So I've tried. They're not meant to last 20 years. They're not quite as fresh as they would have been. So
yes,
I might just put them away.
Donate them to a museum, a candy museum.
That's right, a candy museum. But but how cool! I mean, I love lifesavers. I mean, I still love lifesavers. These aren't good quality lifesavers, but growing up, those were one of my faves. But peppermint was his first one, the peppermint lifesavers.
Yes.
So, very cool. Ganong, another Canadian. And this one stayed in Canada. And in fact, I've been to St. Stephen where the Ganong chocolate factory was. One of our motorhome trips with our kids, we went through New Brunswick and we made sure that we did a stop there. So born in 1877 in St. Stephen, Charlotte County, New Brunswick, passed away at the age of 83 in 1960 in St. John. St. John being one of the largest cities in New Brunswick. So he was born in St. Stephen, used to go fishing with the chocolatier, George Enser, and they would take chunks of chocolate along with them in their pockets to go fishing. But of course, you know, as young kids fishing, the body heat would melt the chocolate and make a mess. Anyway, they began to sell individual chocolate bars. And the first apparently, the Ganong brothers were the first company in North America to do so. And they began adding nuts to their chocolate bar. Anyways, they named their nut and chocolate bars Palamine. Anyways, he was, and here's another Canadian thing, very Canadian thing. He was a fan and enthusiastic participant in the sport of curling. And he helped build his town's first curling rink. Yeah. So, and even went on to donated a trophy for the provincial curling championship. So that's kind of funny. So there's some more Canadian content for today. Oh, and then now Reese's. Everyone loves Reese's, right? Chocolate and peanut butter mixed together. Harry Burnett Reese, born in Muddy Creeks, Forks. I wonder if it was the mud that was the inspiration of mixing those two together. I don't know. In 1879 in Pennsylvania, passed away at the age of 76 in West Palm Beach, Palm Beach, Florida. Interesting, 1956. Son of Aquila Asbury Reese Jr. and Annie Belinda Manifold. American inventor and business known for creating the #1 selling brick candy brand in the United States, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I still love me some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yes.
Reese's Pieces too.
And
Those
Reese's Pieces. Yeah, those are very good. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here's a clipping from about the history of the H.B. Reese Candy Company story. So nice, we have that.
Oh, yes.
There's a picture of the man himself. Oh, and then there's the yum, 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 yum.
Yep.
Okay.
Good stuff.
I'm supposed to have lunch right after we finish this, but I think I might go straight to dessert.
I know. I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'm only thinking about chocolate and chocolate milk.
Yeah, that's right. And then Russell William Stover, another name in candy. And now I have seen the Stover candy. And is there a picture of that? Nope, there's not. I thought, anyways, box of candies. Born in 1888, son of John Stover, passed away in 54. So not a lot in his WikiTree. But if we go to Wikipedia, there's this picture, Russell Stover candies. No picture of the box of chocolates though. But
those are they're pretty classic. I mean, at least in my experience here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Samuel Bernstein, which I'm guessing that's what it would say in Hebrew. Born, also known as Bernstein or Bernstein. Shmuel, I'm not sure how to Shmuel, or which I'm guessing is Samuel. Tzuvi ben Yisrael. Samuel. He was the inventor of Peeps. So, which is not chocolate, is actually a marshmallow Easter candy. And here's a picture of it. It's those little little chickens.
Oh yes, peeps. Yeah, they're an odd candy. They really are. There's nothing natural about them.
Yeah. Do you like those? I don't like. I think I've tried them. They're not. I'm not a
They're
huge
so
fan.
sweet. You know, they're too sweet for me.
They're too sweet. Yes.
Too sweet. Yeah.
That could be it. Yeah. But anyways, lots of people associate that with Easter. They certainly look so Eastery. You know, the colors.
Yes.
So it'd be nice to have and decorate around, but you know, I would go straight for the chocolate. But anyways, he was born actually in the Ukraine. Yeah, in Venetia, in the Ukraine, and his original name was Samuel Bernstein, according to the bio here. In 1909, he sailed from Liverpool to Philadelphia, and his occupation was listed as candy maker. So he was only 18 at the time, right? And he was already a candy maker. He was awarded by 1916. He was already awarded the key to the city of San Francisco for inventing a machine. This is so cool. He invented a machine that inserts the sticks into lollipops. You know, like
sure. Well, yeah.
You hold a lollipop, right? You're holding onto a stick with a lollipop on top. Yes. He invented the machine that did that, so that you didn't have to have individual people along the assembly line, I guess, putting in the sticks. So, so that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And then he founded a company, Just Born, which is a play on his name, Bornstein. And then his Peeps, which he created, were mostly an Easter candy, but always in season, I guess, as part of his promotion. Interesting. He was also credited with inventing chocolate sprinkles, known as Jimmy's, and the hard coating on ice cream bars. Ooh, I do like chocolate on ice cream bars.
Yes, me too.
So there we go. Interesting. We don't see this very often, but he died at sea. He was on board a Cunard line, the Britannic, and while he was at sea, passed away when it was going from Lisbon to Southampton. They're on the last lap of a 14,000-mile world cruise. Wow. So that would have been a massive trip, right?
Yes.
So that's too bad. But anyways.
Yeah.
There he goes, 67. That's a little too young.
Well,
yeah.
So there we have.
Greg, we have a suggestion.
Yes.
From John Tyner,
to check the all degrees.
Who discovered a cool fact.
Okay.
Yeah, because Cadbury and Fry are 5 degrees from each other, he says.
5 degrees. Look at that. Oh my. Look at that. Cadbury and Fry. Okay, let's check that out. Only 5. So let's go to the alternative view. So his
Could you zoom in?
Yes, I can. I can zoom into that. Zoom in. Can you see that better?
Better, yes, thank you.
Wow. Yes.
Okay, so John Cadbury's wife's brother's daughter's husband's father. So basically, his brother-in-law's, right? John Diamond would be his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law's, I guess, son-in-law's father, right? It's Joseph Fry. So yeah. Well, actually, yeah. So his niece's father-in-law. Yeah, very cool. So the Diamond family is the glue that connects both of those together. That is very cool. Way to spot that.
Oh,
nice. Yeah. There we go. That is cool. Yeah, it's very, very rare you see single digits in this chart. Very cool. Nice. Excellent. Well, coming up this week, what's new? What's happening? So the question of family feud. We are down to the 20s. Here we are.
Yeah.
We're the 19th. There's a Saturday sourcing sprint going on. There'll be a question of the week, ancestors, German Stammtisch, WikiTree date night coming up. And we can see all of that information also on the socials. Now, also, what's exciting is this week we'll be starting the next WikiTree challenge. Is that right? Am I timing right there? Should be this Thursday coming up for Daniel Horowitz from MyHeritage. Yeah, so that'll be very exciting. Doing his extending his CC7. We don't know what the question of the week is going to be. Well, that'll be revealed on Monday. One name study is bogus. I don't know if you pronounce it bogus or boga. Connection checkers Tuesday. One place studies in the Ukraine. Mukachevo Zakarpattia. I'm guessing. Arborists are the project that we're highlighting on Thursday. And then it's Friday date night with Julie on Friday night. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will be celebrating Jim Morrison. And then we'll be back on Saturday. The couples is the photo of the week. The April Celebrate Ancestors Makeover Flowers was the suggestion. And subject 52 ancestors and into the blogosphere. Thanks to Chris Ariolo. Check that out as well. So yeah, if you haven't signed up for the WikiTree challenge, there's still time for that. And is there anything else that we should mention before we sign off?
Nope.
I don't think so.
No, because we still have another week. The Tech Monday will be the last Monday, which is not Easter Monday, not 2 days from now, but a week from now.
The 28th. It'll be the 28th.
Yes. Yeah. So we still have a week for that, so you can get questions ready for that as well. So, yeah, very good. Megan, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you. Happy to join. I don't quite have an account, so I wasn't able to chat. So I mean, I've learned a lot today, like all the other, activities around WikiTree I wasn't familiar with. So this was enlightening to me too.
Oh,
good.
And one of the things, kind of maybe wrapping it all up together, as we were going over Easter traditions or memories and candy makers, I was thinking how growing up, my grandfather, I grew up, with my maternal grandparents being very close. And every Easter, my grandfather, who was not religious, the rest of the family was. So everybody would go off to church. We would come back, and he had made waffles and sausage and everything for, Easter and Sunday in general. But at Easter time, he would always give Russell Stover candies to, like the big box to at least the women or the girls in the family.
Oh.
So it all came back to me listening to this.
Oh, that's nice.
That's great. Excellent.
Great memory.
That's fantastic. Great. Well, thank you for all your contributions to WikiTree, and you can come back and join us anytime. Love to have you. Happy Easter to everyone who's celebrating that.
No, we'll have some chocolate.
What's that? We'll have some chocolate.
Sweet chocolate.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And have a great weekend, no matter what you're doing, what you're celebrating. And we will see you in a week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.